Hello, welcome back to another episode. I'm not quite sure what's going on. There's a yellow thing in the sky and apparently it's known as the sun. Not sure, haven't seen it for a long while. So today I'm outdoors enjoying the sunshine and I'm going to be growing radish, and these are scarlet globes, so these are the nice globe radish. And if you want to start children off into gardening, then radish is one of the easiest things to start off with. So let's start by doing a seed drill. So I'm just putting my hand in, create a little seed drill. Do it with your hand or do it with the garden implement, and then I'm just going to add some water because this soil is quite dry. I'm going to add some water to the bottom of the seed drill, like so. And the radish seed is quite large, that's why it's quite good as a starting vegetable for children, as you can see it. And then just put it into the drill. Radish is quite good, you don't have to be that particular with the distances. If you don't want to, just throw it in and then put the soil back on top of it. Don't forget to put a label to remind yourself what's in the row. And then just put a little bit of water on top of the drill as well. This little chap turned up on the allotment a few days ago. We don't know what his name is, so put a suggestion in the comments box below. Some plants have turned up in the post this morning. They're foxgloves, and this is a new foxglove which came out last year. And the unique thing about this foxglove compared to the traditional ones is that when it starts flowering in May, it continues flowering right up until September. So there'll be interest in the garden throughout the summer. Now, I'm going to plant these straight away. And if you order plants through the post, try and put them in the ground as soon as they turn up. But if they can't, then just make sure that the roots of the plant is watered. So just give them a squirt of water, but try and deal with them within at least 2 or 3 days. I'm going to be putting the foxgloves in this area, but while I was just coming down here, I found this pot. And this is a blueberry, but in the blueberry there is actually a foxglove growing, so I'm going to take that out as well and put that into this bit of land. So there we go, nice root ball on it. Put that back in the pot, and I'll put some more soil in just to fill that up later. Now this is a fairly big foxglove, so I think I'll put that in the corner here. The soil in this part of the garden is pretty poor, so what I will be doing at some point is putting some of the rock dust in here. Now I'm digging up some bulbs, so there must have been gladiolas in here at some point. I actually thought that they probably were down a bit further, but obviously not, so I'll put them back in. That's perfect. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put the bulbs back in the bottom. There's just 2 of them, and then put the foxglove on top of it. I'll sprinkle some of the rock dust around it when the weather gets a bit warmer. A bit of plastic there, throw that out. And when I finish the whole bed, I'll get a watering can and give it a really good watering. Now it's time for the plug plants. Now I'm trying to make some form of a not design, but just thinking about where I put them, because the foxgloves will get rather large, like it'll go about that big. So I think here would be a good idea. Now, there's a few little bits of grass in there. Just pull them out. And then don't bury them too deep. So there we go. Now, I know some people think that gardening is all about sowing seed, but if you haven't got the space, or like this seed isn't available to buy, so the only way of getting this plant is to get the plug plants. Now, I know a few of you are probably thinking, why didn't you just weed the whole plot? But that's just me. I just weed as I go along. And that one, oops, I'll put that one there. And then give everything a really good watering. Now, this is a globe artichoke, and it's been here ever since this bed was created back last September. But as you can see, it's been affected by the frost, so I'm just going to cut back the leaves and just tidy it up. I have left them on for so long because I wanted the leaves here to protect the young shoots that are just coming up through the ground. But now it's time to, with spring just around the corner, it's time to just tidy the plant up anyway. And also next door I have some hyacinth bulbs, and they need a bit more light. You can leave the dead leaves on for a while to protect it against the frost, but then it gets to a point where you want to take them off because you don't want any disease going into the new plant. I just need to do a bit of weeding here. There's a bit of grass. It's probably got transplanted with the plant. And if you look down there, you can see the new shoots just waiting to burst up. And here are some hyacinths next door. I planted this bed up, yes, about September, October time. And there's some daffodil bulbs here and some crocus. One thing that clearly shows that we've had a lot of cold weather this year so far is the fact that the daffodils are so far behind this year. We normally get a few daffodils in the garden for March the 1st, St. David's Day, but we didn't get any this year. As you can tell, there's at least about, I think we'll be getting these in flower probably beginning of April. So that's a clear indication that so far we're at least a month behind in the garden. Oh, it's a beautiful plant, this. It's sage. It's been here for a few years now, but it's looking a bit bedraggled. I'm just going to give it a bit of a haircut. Now, there's no great mystery in pruning something back. All you're doing is you're just taking out the dead growth and you're going back to a new bud. So on this stem, everything past this shoot here is dead. Nothing's going to happen. So I could cut back to there, but the shoot before it, which is this one here, is a bit stronger. So I'm going to cut that back to there, and then this new shoot will then spurt up, and if you look inside you can just about see there's a load of shoots just waiting to come into growth. So all I'm doing is I'm just cutting back. So let me show you on this one. So just cut all the dead wood back to a new shoot. And that's all it is. There you are, nice haircut. We could all do with one of them now and again. It just freshens the plant up in appearance and also in growth. Beautiful smell on that. Now if you want to be thrifty, on the few of the cuttings that I've taken off, you can actually make some new plants. So just take the side shoots off, just rip them off for now. That's enough. So just take the bottom 2 leaves off, get a pot of compost, make a hole, pop it in, and then give it some water. So the same on this one as well. Take the bottom 2 leaves off, make a hole, pop it in, and then you can give these to your friends or give them to the local fair if there's one coming up in spring. And then give it some water, pop that into a propagator or on the kitchen window. Geoff is on site today and he's busy planting his shallots. The variety, we're not quite sure what the variety is, but it's a case of just digging a hole with a trowel and putting the shallot in. Never push the shallot into the ground because that can damage it. I started gardening when I was about 12 years old, and in all that time, when I've grown my shallots, I've always grown them from sets. You just pop the set into the ground, grow it on, and there's your shallot. But I was watching a video online the other day, and Dan, the gardener, he was doing his shallots from seed. And he did it last year and said he had great results, especially with storing the shallots during the winter. So I'm going to give them a go this year. So they're banana shallots, and this variety is called Figaro. I'm not doing them in pots this time, I'm putting them into these seed trays. So I've put multi-purpose compost in, and I've just gone through them all to make a little hole, and that's where I'll be putting the seed. The seed is the same as any other onion. Looks like pieces of charcoal, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to drop, or attempt to drop, just 1 seed per station, and I'll leave these in the greenhouse. You can do the same on the windowsill, and then in about a month or two's time I'll then transplant them to the open ground, and then draw the soil back over the top of them, and then give them a drop of water. What I'm going to do is I'm going to leave them in this tray. Give them a really good watering. And then we'll see how they turn out in a few weeks. Remember back in January when I planted the amaryllis bulb? Well, this is what it looks like today. Give it a few more days and there'll be a beautiful red flower on top, and I'll show you that next week. In a few weeks I'll be planting the potatoes. At the moment they're in the shed, currently chitting, but this is the spot where I'm going to put my potatoes this year. So it's a case of clearing the ground by turning the soil over and taking the weeds out as I go, and then going over it with a rake to create a fine tilth. I'm then putting some rock dust on top. It's the first year that I've tried it, and then putting some black plastic on top just to warm the soil up. On my site we have a communal compost bin, and members are allowed to take as much compost as they like. So I'm just top dressing the potato bed with some of that compost and then putting the plastic back on top to warm the soil. Well, that's all for this week, and it's good to see the sun. So I'm going to finish this week with leaving you with a beautiful sunset in March. I'll see you next week.